Right now, at this very moment, you probably feel like someone might be watching you. Maybe it's just a feeling. Maybe you glance at the door, or check your phone, or feel something behind you. You can't explain it, but the feeling is real. Here's the thing, that feeling is not random. It's not anxiety, it's not paranoia, it's ancient. And 50,000 years ago, the humans sitting around this fire felt the exact same thing. But they didn't just feel it, they built their entire world around it. Today, we're going to answer one of the strangest questions in human history. Did ancient humans know they were being watched? And if they did, who or what was doing the watching? Let's start with the evidence, because this isn't just a theory, the proof is painted on cave walls. All over the world, in caves that are 30, 40, even 50,000 years old, ancient humans painted the same thing over and over. Figures, animals, handprints, but also eyes, watching eyes, drawn high up on walls, in positions that overlook the living space below. Why would a person who spent their day hunting, surviving, and fighting for food take the time to draw eyes on a wall, unless those eyes meant something? And it gets weirder. Archaeologists have found ancient burial sites on every continent where the dead were buried facing a specific direction, always the same direction within the same community. Why? Because ancient humans believed something was watching from that direction. They positioned their dead to face it, to be seen by it, even in death. Then there are the offerings. In nearly every ancient culture, from Africa to Asia to the Americas, humans left food, objects, and fire at specific locations, not to eat, not to use, to give away, to something unseen. These aren't superstitions invented by isolated cultures. These are patterns repeated across the entire human species, people who had no contact with each other, all doing the same thing, all acting like something was watching them. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because science has an explanation for this, and it's not the one you'd expect. There's something called hyperactive agency detection. It's a survival mechanism built into the human brain. Basically, your brain is wired to assume that anything moving, any sound, any feeling of presence, is caused by something alive, something with intention. For ancient humans, this was critical. If a predator was hiding in the dark, a lion, a wolf, a rival human, and you didn't feel watched until it was too late, you died. But if your brain was slightly paranoid, if it assumed something was always watching, always there, always present, you survived. The humans who felt watched lived. The ones who didn't pass on their genes. So, over thousands of generations, the feeling of being watched became baked into human biology. It's not irrational, it's evolution. But here's where it gets philosophically wild. Ancient humans didn't just feel watched randomly. They felt watched constantly, and they responded to that feeling by changing their behavior. They were more cooperative when they felt observed, more generous, more careful. Scientists today call this the watching eyes effect, the proven phenomenon where humans behave better when they believe something is observing them. Ancient humans didn't read psychology papers, but somehow they understood this truth instinctively, and they used it to build entire societies. So ancient humans felt watched. Science explains why they felt that way, but the question that no scientist can fully answer is this: who did ancient humans think was watching them? The answer changes depending on the culture, but the pattern is always the same. In ancient Mesopotamia, one of the oldest civilizations we know of, the Sumerians wrote about beings called the Anunnaki. They described them as powerful, intelligent observers who came from the sky, interacted with early humans, and watched over them closely. The Egyptians spoke of the Eye of Ra, an all-seeing force that monitored human behavior and responded to it. The ancient Greeks had gods on Mount Olympus, literally sitting above the clouds, watching every human decision. The Hindus had the concept of the Akashic records, a cosmic archive where every human action is observed and stored. Indigenous cultures across Australia, the Americas, and Africa all carry traditions of ancestor spirits who watch over the living. Every single ancient civilization, with zero contact with each other, landed on the same conclusion. Something intelligent is watching us, and it matters how we behave. Now, were they right? Were they describing something real? Or were they all independently creating the same beautiful myth to explain the same biological feeling? That's the question, and here's where it gets modern. We live in 2026. And for the first time in human history, we are actually, literally, being watched. Security cameras on every street, AI that monitors your browsing, satellites that can read a newspaper from orbit, phones that listen, algorithms that predict your behavior before you act on it. Ancient humans imagined an all-seeing presence. We built one. And here's the terrifying parallel. Ancient societies that believed they were being watched by gods or ancestors, they were more cooperative, more ethical, more stable, because the belief in a watcher created accountability. Now that we actually are being watched by machines, by corporations, by governments, are we more ethical, more cooperative, more accountable, or did something go wrong? Ancient humans chose their watcher. They decided what watched them, what it valued, and what it wanted from them. We didn't get that choice, and maybe that's the real lesson from 50,000 years of human history. The watcher shapes the watched. Always has, always will. Ancient humans knew something was watching, so they built their entire civilization around living as if every action mattered. The question isn't whether we're being watched. The question is, does it still change how we act? Ancient humans were not primitive. They were not foolish. They were the most perceptive observers of reality the world had ever produced, because their survival depended on it, and they all reached the same conclusion. Something is watching. Whether that something was a predator, a god, a spirit, a force of the universe, or an AI data center in Nevada, the feeling remains the same, and it's the oldest feeling in human history. So, I want to ask you something honestly. In the comments below, do you ever feel like something is watching you, even when you're completely alone? Because I do, and after everything we just covered, I don't think that feeling is a mistake anymore. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to question things too, and subscribe to Mish Theory, because we're just getting started.